This is the policy list report. You can do it by expiration or company code or something like that, or alpha code, which is lookup, and you can do it by expiration here.
Okay.
Now, this is just for December.
Okay.
And you would probably want just policies. You wouldn't care anything about a quote.
Right.
You could do it by department, or you can do everyone.
Okay.
And it will quickly go through the entire database. You saw how quick that was.
Okay.
It creates a list that you can run out of your old system and then check it with your new system.
Okay.
This has 26 pages.
All right.
Would you have that many renewals?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think so. I think that's quite a few more. But you're picking up more agencies. You're picking up more agencies than I'm used to.
Yeah, this is 1,500 just for the month of December.
Yeah, so I'll have to look at it because I have absolutely no idea.
You might want to pare it down.
Okay, yeah, I can do it by department.
Right, so if we did this by, say, RP, and we did it by expiration here, I would uncheck all this. And then just preview that, and it would just be for that one department. This is still 15 pages.
Yeah, that doesn't seem quite right, so I'll have to look at it.
Okay. You can also pare it down to run by company. So if you go back to AR in policy list, you can do it by company code, and it will group it by the company codes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll work on this. This is enough that'll get me by. It'll take me all weekend to work on some of this. So.
Okay. Well,
I guess it's just going to be me and Mike.
Okay. So, any questions for me about searching or any of the things that we covered last week?
Not me. Mike, how'd you get along setting somebody up?
I never could. I kept getting that fatal error.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He did. I forgot that already.
Whether it was with my new login or the assigned one, I still got the same thing. Whenever I try to save a new client.
If you get that, again, please report it directly to support.
Okay. Where's support?
Support.
Who do we use for support?
Agency systems.
Mm-hmm.
Technical issues, 979-260-9702.
Okay.
Or you can just email them. If you go to our homepage, you don't have to be logged in. This is our website.
Okay.
So here's all the contact information. You can email them. You can call them on the message line, which is the 800 number, or if you call this direct number, you always get a person.
Okay, and the contact. Do I want the sales or do I want the support?
Okay, 800 is a message number. It doesn't necessarily mean just sales.
Okay.
They will take a message on the 800 line, and somebody will call you back, probably within 24 hours.
Okay.
Email them. They will get around to it again. But if you call, you always get someone.
Okay. Okay. So, Mike, what I would suggest is once we get off of this meeting, that you go ahead and call and do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get the message on your screen and then call them.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. So that's how you contact our support team for, you know, big errors like that and stuff. But during training, you can just email me or call me.
Okay, because, I mean, like, I can add a new client with my login, but with his login, he can't.
Okay, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Let's log in as you, just for the heck of it, so I can see it.
Okay.
Okay, so you click on one of these and you click on New Client.
Right.
So you just enter a name.
That's probably enough to show you what's going on, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, and just click on Save and exit.
Usually when I click on Save, I get that error message, so.
That's weird.
Seems to be working.
I wonder if there's something, I mean, I don't know what I was doing any different. But
So try it from your, we'll try it from yours next time, and if you get that message, call that number.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Looks like it's computer specific. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, anything else? Any trouble with the search features or any questions about the search features? You know, it can be any part of the name, part of the address, part of the phone, or the phone number. So if you put in 402-496-4506, no spaces, complete phone number, it'll pull up Roberta Anderson.
Okay.
So you can find it by that. I could find it by 109, and it's going to find the same thing.
Okay.
But it's like a Google search, so the more generic it is, the more hits you're going to get.
Okay.
So if I put in Roberta, it's going to pull up every Roberta in the system. If you spell it wrong, it won't work. See, here's Roberta Anderson, Brock, and so forth. Okay?
All right.
Also, search by policy number. It doesn't have to be the whole policy number. Okay? As long as it's a string of numbers together, it will find it. So you don't even have to know the prefix. All you have to know is the numbers that are strung together, okay?
And it doesn't even have to be the beginning of the numbers.
It doesn't have, it has to, the numbers have to be together.
Right, okay.
It doesn't have to be the first of the policy number as long as there's numbers that are adjacent to each other.
Okay.
Okay? Any other navigation questions?
I think I'm good on navigation. How are you, Mike?
Well, I mean, it's not too, I don't think it's too complicated. You just have to play with it a little bit.
Right.
I wonder if my issue with the other thing has to do with the Java. I get some sort of a message when I first go in, something about Java updating. I don't know if that would have anything to do with this.
Have your Java, the latest version of Java, so that might be the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could be something as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So you might update that before you try to call,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's find somebody that we can work on. Who has?
Oh, you can find mine. I have so much practice stuff in mine. Bradfield.
Okay.
I'm forever practicing in mine and Instar, so I have all kinds of things.
Okay. All right. So here is your workflow area. One of the rules is that you have to have a policy in our system to access any kind of Accord forms. So Mike, do you use Accord forms?
Yeah, I do occasionally. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our system has most of the Accord forms. The other day somebody was wanting a crime policy, a crime application, and apparently there's a newer edition than we have. All he has to do is contact our support, tell them the edition date, and they will contact Accord and get it into this list. This list appears that you would scroll down the list, but we have a way to filter it out like most things. So if I was looking for a cancellation, there's actually two ways that I can access it. I could type in 35, which is the number. So just type in 35. And it brings it up in the list. Okay, let's backspace and start typing cancellation. So it finds it either way. So it's a filtering type system. All right, let's backspace. You can create an auto ID card. We make it so easy to create an auto ID card. All you have to do is click on auto ID, and it brings up the auto ID for your state. Then you just choose the vehicle. So just click on choose vehicles. It's actually accessing the schedules on the basic screen. There's buttons beside the vehicles. And you just say okay. You can also choose the drivers the same way. You can edit anything on this by right-clicking. So just put your cursor on the name or the vehicle and change the text.
Okay.
You could also right-click and change it to the department address. Just revert. Just revert.
Revert.
Okay, right-click again. Revert.
Oh, revert to default. Okay.
Now, right-click again and then use the department address.
Okay.
And you'd put in RP, and it would pull in the address from the profile.
Okay. Or since this is RP, if I wanted TV, I could do that, and it would be Tarkio.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay? So then you just save it. One of the things that you will hear me say over and over and over and over is you need a description on every form, or most forms. So this is the 2001 Chevrolet. You could even put part of the VIN number if you wanted to. And then when you save it, now from here you can email it or print it or whatever you need to do. But now that is now attached to this policy. This is creating these items. After you create them, you can view the existing items. So there's the auto ID card, and if you expand this, you can see the description. So you wouldn't have to drill down to a form to see what's in the form. So let's go back up to create an item and talk about some other kinds of forms. There's an insurance invoice. It doesn't hit accounting, Danny.
Okay.
It's just a form. Sometimes account managers or CSRs create this for a paid receipt for a closing.
Okay.
It could be used in any number of ways. It is fully editable, so you can right-click in any area and change the address or the name. It looks like an invoice. It looks pretty official. So it also has all this area that you can input information and a notes section. And since it's just a form, you could put a description, paid receipt. And of course you can email this.
Okay.
So what other kinds of forms would you like to see?
Oh, how about a certificate or a binder?
Okay. This is a personal lines account, so let's find a commercial lines account for a certificate of insurance.
Okay.
Oswald Ag or something, or yeah, inventory.
There's a farm policy that should be set up as a commercial, I think.
So they would probably have need for a certificate of insurance.
Yeah, sometimes we do on those when they
Okay.
rent big equipment or something.
Right. So this is a certificate of liability, not like an evidence of property or for equipment, things like that. So I'm speaking more of general liability, business auto, workers' comp, umbrella.
Right.
The casualty part. So would you use a farm policy for this?
Oh, yeah, sometimes, because when they rent a big piece of equipment and they're going to be ripping dirt, sometimes people will want something in case they catch a gas line or something.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have used them for this.
All right, so if you right-click over there on Oswald Crow, you can find that department again. So use the department address, and you could put department in there, and it would have the right address.
Okay.
Okay? Then you would come up here and put your contact name and your email address. So you're going to be the person that they're going to contact. And, of course, the phone number and fax number would come over with the department code. Okay?
Okay.
Then you would go down to the middle of the page and you would choose the policy that corresponds to the general liability, the auto, or whatever. So if it was that and it's general liability, you would just fill in all that stuff.
Okay.
In occurrence. And then because you don't have applications, and I don't think the farm policy imports, I'm not sure. But anyway, we don't have underlying forms. You would just need to type in the limits. Now, our system does put the commas in there after you save it.
Okay.
You only have to create this one time. In Instar, you create duplicate certificates. You don't do that with our system. You create one certificate and then add holders only to the main certificate.
Okay.
Okay, so are there any more policies or limits that you want?
Oh, that'll be enough for now.
Okay, then you would come back up here and you would put your signature in.
Okay.
You would show the signature and then, you know, put your code in there.
Okay.
We don't have any yet, and it won't be.
Right, I know. That's something I've got to get on to.
Then you would put a description. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over. So this would be your certificate, and it would have CGL only, and it is 2012 to 2013. So now you would have your master certificate.
Okay.
And you can click on Save. So that's the steps. You bring up the form, you choose the policies, you input the limits and so forth, you put a description, and you put a signature.
Okay.
And you save it. Now we're ready to...
Well, excuse me just a minute, Elaine. The description was in that other tab, or did that come up automatically, or did you have to choose the other tab? You had to choose that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you could easily forget to do it unless you're just used to doing it, I guess, huh? The description and everything
That's right.
else. Yeah.
That's why I say this is step 1, this is step 2, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Because the tendency is just to input it and click on Save. But if you need to put a signature, this would be a good step. Please put your description in there because other people have to look at your data, and we all have to work behind each other, so you need a description in there. That's just my suggestion. It doesn't ruin the system. It just helps you use the system. Okay, so now we go back to this other menu, and this is where you're going to add your holders. This is the list of holders. What it does is it's accessing your master list that was converted. So if you had a certificate or something on this client prior to this, and you did, you had 3 interests right here, you can copy the interest.
Okay.
So if I copy that, it would put it on the list.
All right.
To review the description, all I have to do is double-click after I get it on my list.
Okay.
The same thing holds true for this. No description here. Okay? This print interest prints just the list of interest. It does not print a certificate. This is a good renewal plan. Print this so that they can sign off on what they want on the renewal. If you wanted to see if this had an email address, you would just click on it and edit the interest to see if it had an email address. I would always suggest to try to get an email address for everybody. Okay, now we're ready to print them or email them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to, 2 different scenarios. Let's say that I was going to do a renewal. We would go back up to the word other. This is where you're going to hang out most of the time when you're in forms, especially certificates. You would come down here to print selected holders. The list pops up again. It says, do you want to print all of these? You would have to check the buttons. But if you had 50 and half of them had an email, you could right-click and check all with email, and it would send out all of them that had an email at one time.
Okay.
But since yours doesn't, you would just check all, and you'd click on print.
Okay.
But that's just one. That just prints the certificate. Let's say that you get a call, and this guy gave you an email address, and he wants you to email it just to him. So print selected holders will print them for you, but sometimes you want to send via batch print. This is the batch print menu. There's a little button right here beside the accord form. This is why you want a description, because let's say that I had another certificate on file. Maybe it has auto and umbrella for this policy period, and I chose to make another master one. Well, if I don't have a description, I'm not going to know which one's which. I can choose this. I can even choose to add attachments if there was an attachment that I needed to have along with this certificate. Okay so far?
Yep.
Then we click on the email button. After I click on the email button, it brings up this list again. It says, okay, Melaine, which one do you want? Well, I want this one right here. And I just say, okay. This is the email. Here, I can choose to send it to the client. I can also look into my email address book, my Outlook address book. I can look for the companies. I can even send it to the interest if they had an email address. Now we know that that one doesn't, so I'm not going to bother to look. So you can send it to, or you can CC, and of course blind carbon copy also. what I tend to do is I just put a little shorthand, like certificate, and then put who the holder is, because that's going to be attached to my policy. Now, I can put some wording in here, or I can create a template that says, please see attached certificate of insurance, blah, 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 blah. Never have to type it again. And then I could put a signature in here. And then when I click on send, it goes out the door. I'm going to actually put something in here. And this is going to retain these email addresses after you start using them. It looks like it acts sort of like Outlook. You know, it retains, you know, those email addresses after you start to use them. And so now that is gone out the door. So I've just sent that email and that certificate out. Now, certainly I can see it under View Existing Items and Emails. See?
Okay.
I can see it under the email band. Let's say that he calls me and said, I didn't get it. Well, I could look down here. I can click on it again, and I can forward it to him again.
Okay.
And that's going to be retained in the system also. Okay, so that's a certificate. Let's say they call in tomorrow and they need another certificate. The first thing you do is find the client, go straight down to Forms, and find your certificate. This is why you need a description. Here's my certificate. It's sitting right here where the date is. It wants you to create a new date. So if this was 2 days from now, I would put the correct date in and click Save. Then I would go straight back to the Other menu, choose Holders, find the interest, and search for the interest. This is accessing your master list that was converted. So I just go down through here to find the address that I want. Once I find it, yep, that's the one I need, I can say OK. And it adds it to the list. I can close this, and I can either print it and print that selected holder, or I can batch print and email it out to one or multiple email addresses. Okay?
Okay, looks good on that.
Okay, so that's kind of certificates. You can see that it's a much more streamlined than creating just duplicates and duplicates and duplicates of certificates. Just copy after copy after copy after copy of certificates. So as long as you manage that you create the master certificate, the whole thing is just managing those holders. Okay, what other kinds of forms? Now we do have some agricultural forms. I don't know if you use any of them.
Oh. We sometimes use those if we have to send it to somebody. Most of our companies that we write with, they have all their information, and you go on their website and fill out the application.
Right. It's sort
but
of
every now and then we have to do an Accord form application.
Right. But most of the time, you do it online, very much like personal lines. Or,
right.
Yeah. Even a lot of commercial lines you quote online now.
Right.
Okay. So
can you show us the schedule of equipment like we would use for our farm blanket?
Okay.
While we're talking about this one?
Yep. So are you going to use a 146?
Well, that's what, right now, all we do for our equipment list is farm blankets is we use an Excel spreadsheet and then just drop the dollar amount and keep a copy in the attachments.
Well, it's up to you.
Well,
but you can, this interacts with an Accord 146. Are you familiar with the 146?
No, but they use it in MI Assist, and it's something that Jeremy's very interested in us starting to use instead of the Excel sheets. We want to not use the Excel sheets.
You see this equipment floater?
Okay.
Here's page number 2.
Okay.
This is accessing that driver, vehicle, equipment schedule area, what we call schedules. And so you would just choose equipment, and you would just click on New, and this would be some sort of tractor, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's make it a John Deere. I like John Deere.
Oh yeah, we're pretty green up here.
Yeah. And it's got an old farm all. I don't even know what make and model it is. But anyway, you fill it in.
Okay.
And this is number 1. You could make some extra notes. Here's the lien holder or the lost payee. You know, you just fill it all in and you manage it here, and you don't even have to import it into the, you don't have to use the 146 at all if you don't want to.
Okay.
Because let me show you what it does. Certainly you can import it or export it to that form, but you can manage it right here too.
Okay. So now will this give me a total? Let's say I've got 30 items on here. Will I have a total somewhere of that 30 items?
No, but I would just make this the total. And let's see, where would I want it? I would want it under the description, total. Okay? And so I would add something, and I would say this is the John Deere, well, tractor. I don't spell very good.
No, I have that problem too.
You kind of get an idea. Okay, so now we've got a couple of pieces of equipment. This is kind of what it would show up as.
Oh, okay.
But it's not going to add it up for you.
Okay.
The beauty of it is when they delete something, let me duplicate this. So if you got a whole bunch of the same kind of equipment.
Right.
Let's say that he sold a piece of equipment. So you would just come in here and you would say this was deleted. Something like that. And you could mark it inactive.
Okay.
Or you could leave it active and just have your note in there. So if I leave it active and I've got the note in there, you will always see when it was deleted. If you mark it inactive, it kind of goes into hiding. See, it's gone. You would have to omit this total. The beauty of having it like this, though, is that you could always see it, and it would be accessible to everybody.
Right.
To find that, you would just go back here, and here's the inactive equipment.
Okay.
So if he got it running again, you would just come in here, take this off, and your schedule would be correct again.
Okay.
I'll leave that sort of like that. You can play with it and show Jeremy. So that's how you would manage that, and it can import into an Accord 146 should you ever need a form.
Okay.
Okay? So what other kind of forms do you think you would need?
Oh, a cancellation form.
Okay, so if you just come in here, go to Form, and type in cancellation, or Accord 35. You just choose the cancellation.
Okay.
Type in what you need. And
all right.
Of course, here I go again. You go up to the word Other, and here's your description.
Okay.
And here's your signature. Then you save it. Then you can email it by batch printing.
Okay.
Okay? All right, what other kinds of forms? And when I say that, let's just look at the list. Now, there's a way to configure these to hide the ones that you will never, ever, ever, ever need.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. It's on your post-live checklist as an item to do. It doesn't matter what client or what policy. You just need to access this list. I just usually choose property loss notice number 1. Then you go back up to the word Other, and you go down to Configure Forms. It brings up the list again. All you do is highlight the ones that you want to hide. You just highlight it and configure and uncheck it.
Okay.
Then you could just go to the next one, and it hides them. This is something that you can do post-live.
Okay.
And it will take off all these forms that are in states that you don't write business.
Okay.
It would pare it down considerably. As you can see, it's got lots of other states, and you would just hide those.
Okay.
Okay? So it's a once and done kind of thing. So that's something that you will want to do post-live.
Okay.
Then when you X out of here, you just say no because you don't need that loss notice attached to the policy.
Oh, okay.
Another area. Do you create loss notices, or do you just call it in?
The majority of time we call it in.
Gotcha.
I mean, we have a few companies we still, like maybe we do 2 or 3 a year.
Okay. That's what we used to do, but a lot of agencies still use the Accord forms. Do you track any of the claims?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where you would actually put the information about the claim if you wanted to track the claim.
Okay.
So this doesn't create a form, it's just an internal record.
So that if we wanted to, we could pull a client up and see how many claims we've paid on this client in the last 3 years.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is, the date of loss and the type and reserves, a synopsis, location, claimant, if any, payments. You can post the payments. And then here's all kind of notes that you can add.
Okay.
So, if somebody is, taking claims and tracking claims, they would want to go into that area and look at that. But it does not create an Accord loss notice of any.
Okay.
Okay?
Detail from our claim system will be transferred over. I wondered,
Right.
I suppose.
There's somebody that has claims. That brings up a good point, Mike. So who is somebody that's had some claims?
Well, say James. Well, you can use whatever. James
Go ahead.
Clifford
Who do you
Smith.
want?
I just did one for James Clifford Smith.
Okay, we're going to find a lot of James.
Let's
Maybe
see.
under Clifford.
Yeah, I would have put in Clifford. Just type in Clifford. You have to spell it right.
Two
Yep.
F's. Yeah, there's 2 F's. There.
Okay, so if you go down to the very bottom and look at claims, you can see that they came over.
Yeah, it was an auto.
This is kind of what they look like.
Okay, but you just did it, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's a recent
It won't
one.
be there because they picked our data up about a month ago.
Yeah. But I see what it is. It's got all that stuff in there, doesn't it? Yeah. Yep, all the detail, pretty much that we'd entered, I suppose.
Yeah, this is
Like
coming
it.
over in your conversion.
Yeah.
Okay?
So can you double click on one of these and see like the very bottom line and?
Well, it's opening up that one that I double.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's how you opened it up. Okay.
Okay, this one is a closed one.
Yeah.
This one right here is an open one. And it just takes you back to those claims screens like I showed. It does not create a suspense. So you could create a suspense to, follow up on it.
Okay.
That one must have never got closed.
Sir?
Yeah. That one must have never gotten closed. That's an 08 claim, it looks like.
Yeah, that was always an issue with any agency that I ever worked in. If we tracked claims in any way, it just seemed like it was so hard for someone to go back in and really track it and close the claim when it was actually closed. Okay? All right, so anything else about Accord forms of any kind?
I can't think of any.
Yeah, ID cards are the ones we use the most, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and they're super easy.
yeah.
They're super easy. Okay. Now, I will tell you this. The download creates auto ID cards, personal auto apps, commercial lines if you're downloading commercial. It will do business auto, property, GL, workers' comp. It'll do all those apps automatically for you.
Okay.
The apps. But like you said, most of the things are done online anyway.
Yeah.
But people just like to look at them that way. And I don't know if you've looked at the download risk, but this is what the download risk looks like. And this is, you can tell a lot of information. Here's the semi-annual premium. This is some remarks that would tell you a little bit if the company sent in. This is the forms. List of forms. This is the drivers. And a list of the vehicles with the individual premiums per coverage. The nice part about this is, let's say that I wanted to just expand one of these. I can actually print a little deck page. Let's say he just wanted to see the premiums on this one. So I just go up here and print, click on this little zoom button, and it shows just exactly what I've expanded. See, these are still in summary form, but I opened up this one because he needed to see what the limits and everything were, what he was paying for comp and collision. Okay? Do you have somebody that writes a lot of property? That you write a lot of property for? Like dwelling fire?
Well, you mean just like a lot of different policies?
Right.
Janine Gaw.
Is that?
Of course.
Oops.
Okay. So she's got a lot of dwelling fire policies. If we knew what one of the locations was and you needed to find it, all you would have to do is to put, you could click on Find and put in Maryville. Now this one didn't come over with a street address, but you could have put in the street address and it would have found it. So it found this one in Maryville. And it tells you the limits and so forth. You can also manage it here on the front screen. And instead of putting her name, once I decide that 7th Street is attached to a certain policy, instead of having her name there, I would put her policy number. Let's say this one was RD. I know it's not, but I'm just showing you just for the heck of it. So I would put that there, and then under the description or the detail, I could say the dwelling was $50,000 and the deductible is $500. Now by doing that, I can see it here on the front screen and manage it a lot easier. I can manage it here because I can see what the policy number is, the street address, and a little bit about what the coverages are. So you could manage an account pretty easily based on this information.
Any help we could get with Janine would be useful.
She's a problem child sometimes.
Do you think this would help?
Probably, yeah, to find a certain policy.
Because once the policy's written, hopefully it doesn't change that often. So the policy number associated with the street address would probably not change. Let's say that we were looking for 11th Street. I hope this is going to work.
Yeah.
Well, all right. See, it didn't come over with anything but like Maryville.
Right, and see, this is a company that doesn't download.
That ain't going to work. So this is what you will need to do.
Yeah.
This is how you will manage this account. And then in here, you've got the ability to put all kind of information in like this. And just maintain it here. And then you've got all this detail, square feet. I mean, you can manage it right here. Since it's not going to download, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Okay? All right, guys. Anything else about forms per se?
Not that I can think of right now.
No.
Okay. Do you think the equipment thing's going to be of help to you guys?
I think it will. I think I'll practice and go in and pick somebody that has a small Excel spreadsheet, maybe just try to build one in there and see how it's going to look.
Okay.
it might be
All right.
beneficial on some of those commercial accounts to, you know, the Inland Marine, like the city and the Board of Public Works and things like that.
All right, let's pull them up and see what they look like. You say city of something?
Well, City of Fairfax, yeah.
No, that's not it.
It's probably
City of
down a little
Fairfax.
bit. Yeah, Fairfax.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is. Very bottom one.
Okay. All right, so we've got flood. We have no idea what this one is. I guess that's another flood policy.
Yeah, must be.
Yeah.
This is excess liability, CGL, property, business auto, and travelers will download.
Oh, okay. See, we only have like a couple, 3 policies with them.
Oh, well, you might not get download then.
We only have about 3 or 4 cities with them.
Okay, gotcha. Would there ever be a need for you to create a flood application that was an Accord app?
Probably not, because the company we use, we do it online.
Okay. So I doubt it downloads, right? So you could manage it right here. You could say this is the flood policy.
Okay.
And then, you know, do your detail and say flood, excess, or whatever it is, and play with that to see how you're going to manage that on that property screen.
Okay.
Okay? That would be a lot of help to you. And then the business auto, if it's not going to download, this came in conversion, but if you're not going to download, I would suggest that you maintain these. And
right.
These names look like they came in a little strange.
Yeah, it looks like the last name came in as a middle name.
Oh, I see. So if you just cut that out and put it down here, it's probably the
quickest way, yeah.
It was the position where it was stored or something. So if we refresh that and we open up drivers again, you can see that Aaron Simmons is down here.
Okay.
Okay. This is all sortable by birthday or license number or name, and it would bring in the last name if it had been put in the right position.
Right.
Same thing works like this. Let's say Aaron decided and he wasn't working there anymore, and so they call in and they delete him.
Which we probably need to do, Mike.
Okay, you see that? And you can either leave it active with your note or take him off as an active member of the fleet, and then when you refresh, he is no longer on the active list. But he's not gone forever. Let's say he came back begging for his job, so we just edit and we go back into the client to the detail tab, and you can find the drivers in the inactive fields here. Well, there's old Aaron. All we have to do is take out the note and add him back on.
Okay.
And then the same thing works for vehicles. How many times have they said, I'm going to have to take the old truck off? Engine blew in it. So they delete this old dump truck. And then a month from now they call you back and say, well, I got the engine running again. Would you put it back on? Well, do you have the VIN number and everything? Well, no, but you had it. Why don't you just add it back on for me? Right?
Yep.
So if you just have your note here, you're going to be able to resurrect it again pretty easily.
Okay.
Okay? So you might want to practice with that, okay? So you manage it here on the front screen, and if you guys ever need an Accord app, they just import into the Accord apps as you need them.
Okay.
But since y'all don't use too many Accord apps, I would suggest you just manage the driver's list the equipment list, the vehicles, and the property right here on the main screen. Okay. Is that good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys, if there's nothing else about forms or anything, or do you have a question about any part of the system?
Not that I can think of specific right now.
Right now, you're thinking about conversion.
I know it. I'm panicking about conversion.
Well, we got plenty of time, Danny. Remember, we did all this process super early, and we've got, we've got plenty of time for us to review, first of all, review the conversion, and secondly, to get Jim to get it as good as he can. So that's a big plus right now.
Yeah.
And so the more you look and the more things that you find that he can fix, like those producer codes, or, we fix those class codes, that's no big deal. But the ones with the numbers would be, I would question those definitely, why those came in as numbers. There's some part of some conversion that pulled in the wrong class codes, I would say.
Yeah, and I'll have to go look at some of those policies and see exactly how they look in Star, and that may give him a clue as to what he needed to look for.
Okay. All right, guys.
Okay, and we're on again for next Tuesday, right, for classes?
Let me check and see. Danny, I don't know how much use it was to meet with that group that I met with this morning. I think they were like deer in the headlights.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll split things up differently next time.
Because they didn't even know the questions to ask.
Right, and I need to sit down with Jeremy the next time he's here and have a very serious talk, because I have people that haven't even been to any of the meetings yet.
Okay.
So
we're doing the recordings so they can review the recordings.
Okay. All right. So, but I need to have
the recordings.
Yeah. So I need to have a serious talk with Jeremy about.
Yeah,
I know one person's on vacation. So.
Right. We've got 2 sessions on the 27th and 2 on the 29th.
Okay. All right. And then you'll send us. What do you send those, the access codes out so I don't worry? Do you send those out the same day or the day before sometime?
I'll just go ahead and set them up for you.
Okay.
Today.
Okay, that'll be fine, and then that way then I can get them out to everybody and remind them again about it, and try to get them all out here to watch these.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks a bunch.
Thanks. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.